please. Okay. All right, everyone. So I'm going to introduce myself and our presenters. Hello and welcome to the second annual New Jersey Youth Transitions Conference. My name is April DePietro and I represent the Camden County Partnership for Children on behalf of the YTC Planning Committee. We will place a registration form in the chat box for you to share your contact information so that we can share the recordings and resources with you from today's workshop. Please note, for those who are seeking continuing education credits, you are required to complete the form as this is the contact method in which we will send you proof of attendance. Today's workshops will be hosted via the same link you have joined with today. You can see the full schedule on our website, and I will share the agenda on the screen after the conclusion of this workshop. Our presenters today are Marian and Christina from Values into Action, who will be presenting on the topic of Transition Alert. Self-direction is an option you should consider. The floor is yours, ladies.
Okay, well, thank you, April, and thank you to all the organizers and our partners who have made this second year of conference a reality. I was saying to April as we came into the room, just her energy in particular, but just all of the partners who work so diligently all year. It's such an honor to be a part of this team. So thank you. Christina and I are going to present about support coordination in particular, and the focus really on helping people and their families understand that self-direction is a very real, viable option here in New Jersey. So we're happy to be here. And we will get started. So a little bit about Values into Action. I am one of the two co-founders along with my husband, Paul. We started Values into Action New Jersey in 2007. I feel so old saying that. It was a long, long time ago, but there's days when it feels like literally days since we started. There's always so much to do and to learn here in New Jersey, and we are just thrilled to now be among over 180 different support coordination agencies. But way back when, in 2007, we were one of 3 support coordination agencies that began working with the Division on Developmental Disabilities to really move the role of support coordination away from the state and into private organizations where people, as we know today, can have choice in the organization that they choose to offer them the service of support coordination. So Christina is going to talk in her role as Director of Support Coordination Services with Values. She will talk in a few minutes just about what that service is, what it means, and the role that service plays in helping people to take control of their services and supports. As an organization, Values into Action has always been committed to self-direction. The New Jersey organization actually has a sister organization in Pennsylvania, Values into Action Pennsylvania, that provides direct support and services. And most of the people we support in Pennsylvania actually do direct their own services and supports there. As in New Jersey, most of the people who choose to accept support with us often do so knowing that we have an expertise in terms of helping people to understand the self-direction infrastructure in New Jersey through the division, and we work in close partnership with the 2 fiscal intermediaries and really helping people to understand all of the benefits when you take control of your services, as well as helping people through the challenges that also come along with directing one's own services and supports. This slide really outlines our value statements, and the organization certainly seeks to really partner with people, with their families, and also with the people who choose to work with us. And these value statements really represent for us the guardrails, if you will. These statements and the values that sit behind these statements help us in terms of how we plan for what the organization will do. So strategic planning, operational planning. It also helps us in the day-to-day challenges of helping people navigate a very complex system of supports and services. And so these words and more important, the action statements that you read really do help to guide and direct us as we do our very best to honor people's right to take control of their services and to really direct the course of their lives. 3 philosophical foundations really underpin everything that we do and why Paul and I decided to start the organization. And that is that we know we learn best from people with disabilities and their families. We believe inherently that people know themselves best, and we presume competence always in seeing people as the experts of their own lives. We know now through decades of service that the more personalized a service is for somebody in terms of their input and their influence in designing their support system and in making key decisions about their services and supports with the support that they choose, is the single most important factor in helping people be more satisfied with their services. But also we know from the data that the health and social outcomes for people are much better the more control that they have. So fundamentally, we believe that everyone, each and every one of us, no matter who we are, no matter what our diagnoses, that we have the inherent right to self-agency and self-determination. And finally, as an organization, we have been able to demonstrate in the decades of service that the more complex and significant one's support needs, whether we're talking about medical complexities, physical support needs, behavioral support needs, the more complex those support needs are, the more compelling the reason that the person and their family should be supported to lead and direct their services and hence their lives. And we know that that's not always the case. We understand that we are in a system that remains in flux. And it becomes challenging sometimes working as professionals to have an opinion and to think that we know what's best for the person. And we're learning every day in our organization that as professionals, our role becomes more facilitative, less directive, less I'm telling you so, and more facilitative. Here are the resources that we seek for you based upon our understanding of what it is you and your family want and need. Values into Action is also a founding member of the Collaborative for Citizen-Directed Supports. This is a membership association that initially was organized around support coordination agencies and really thinking about how do we help support coordinators and the agencies that employ them really understand the benefits of self-direction and really grow their role from just being a referral source to really helping people articulate their vision, facilitate a plan that really reflects their hopes and their aspirations, and can translate all of that into a plan that really helps to guide the team and help the person to realize their stated outcomes. The organization has since grown to include supports brokerages, to include self-advocates and family members, as well as generic community resources. And all of the efforts around the collaborative are really about helping people understand that others have a right to determine the course of their lives, and how can the collaborative bring resources and information and support so that, again, the system can move away from referrals to programs and really become a forum for people being able to communicate their wants and their needs, and then being supported to get connected to those very resources. Through the pandemic, the collaborative worked with the New Jersey Council on Developmental Disabilities through 2 community innovation grants, one of which funded the Self-Direction Conference, which we kind of helped to bring back after a decade of not being able to see that conference come to fruition. And last year, the collaborative led a partnership, much like the Youth Transition Conference, working together with system partners, self-advocates, and family members. And that self-direction conference was well attended and really has brought a renewed kind of desire to build up and support the self-direction community. The second thing we were able to do with the help of the New Jersey Council was to create what is now called the interactive map, where we helped people and their families during the initial onset of COVID, when people were losing their programs and staff were at risk of losing their jobs. And the interactive map served as a bridge for people to be able to find one another. Well, that effort resulted in the collaborative winning the Administration for Community Living's Blazing New Trails Award in 2021, which we're extremely proud of. And we just recently were the recipients of the Council's Distinguished Systems Change Award. So we are thrilled to work again as a founding member of the collaborative to grow that organization in a way where the impact and its influence can really, really help people who are self-directing, but also help people and their support systems to understand better what self-direction is and to get the support they need to be able to use it. I'm going to turn it over to Christina now. And she's going to talk more specifically about the support coordination service itself.
Thank you, Marian. Great job. All right, I'm excited to talk to you about support coordination. So as support coordinators, we help you to reach your true vision of what you want in life. So you can think of us as kind of like your sidekick. Support coordinators will connect you with both paid and unpaid services. We help you to form relationships within your community. And we're there to talk through your thoughts on what you'd like to do. You can bounce ideas off of us. Maybe you tell us, you know, I'm looking into, I really like music. Is there anything that I can do within the community that has to do with music? And we can help you research different music studios. Maybe there's a class that we know of. Maybe you've come across a music studio within your own community, and then we can take you through that process. So support coordinators are there to assist you with true self-direction. So during the process, say you find a music studio that you like, and they currently aren't a vendor for anyone else accessing their DDD funding. So we would connect the studio with the fiscal intermediary with either public partnerships or Easter seals. They would submit paperwork in order to become a vendor. And then if and once they're approved, we can discuss with the studio which classes you'd like to take and then add them into your service plan. So then at that point, we add the service in, we go to get it approved. Once it's approved, you can start your service. So some other examples of self-directed services are gym memberships, art classes, horseback riding, acting classes. Maybe there's a dance class that you'd like to take or yoga. We do also have more traditional services such as day programs. But as support coordinators, during the height of the COVID pandemic, we witnessed many closures of day programs. So most individuals were left without any type of service. And as support coordinators, that's when we were able to step in and assist people with utilizing self-direction with either in-home support or community-based support. So either having someone come in to help you at home and take you out into the community to do the activities that you enjoy doing. So also maybe there's somebody that you like to hire, a family member, a friend, a neighbor, someone at your local church or someone at the coffee shop that you've met. This would allow you to create your own day and create your own schedule and your routine. So as support coordination, we would be the person to help walk you through that process and take you step by step. So we're really taking your lead. We're working with you, listening to what you want to do, and then putting that into action. Next slide, please. Okay, so as I talked about, what do support coordinators do? So we're listening to you and your family about what you would like. And then we're facilitating your planning session to create your individual support plan that reflects your vision. So we're taking you step by step. During your transition from school into the adult system, you may hear people throwing out acronyms, ISP, PCPT. So the ISP is the individualized service plan. That's the information about what you need support with, what type of, if you're in the community, should someone be with you? Are you able to drive yourself from point A to point B? What would you need assistance with so that someone coming in to support you can support you the way that's needed? And then we have the PCPT, which is the person-centered planning tool. This document is more fun. I like to say it's more about what you actually like to do and who you are as a person versus just focusing on the assistance and the support that you need. So with the person-centered planning tool, anyone coming in to support you that's reading that document will know Christina likes to go out to eat to Applebee's, or Christina likes to go hiking. These are her favorite parks. And we can list that for you in that document so that when a provider or even yourself, when you're looking for someone to support you at home or in the community, whoever is coming in, you want to make sure that they kind of have the same ideas as you, right? They like to do the same things as you. You wouldn't want to hire someone that likes to sit on the couch all day and stay indoors when you're more of an outdoor person and you like to be physically active, hiking, swimming, going to the beach, whatever have you. So with the PCPT, it's really going to tell a story about who you are as a person and what you like to do. There's also, dislikes, maybe you don't like certain foods or certain spaces. We can also put that in there for you. So those two documents are super important. And that is where we will start with you as your support coordinator, gathering all of that information and working with you to ensure that we have all the details. So then we can start connecting you to services and different people to support you. So we're going to translate your hopes into the plan that guides you and your team. And then we'll help you manage your DDD budget as established by the NJCAT. So at this point, if you are graduating and you're coming into the adult system, you should the New Jersey CAT. It's a survey. It's quite long. If you've taken it, you know what I'm talking about. It's a lot of questions about what you need support with, A to Z. It's a lot. So that NJCAT is going to determine what your budget is going to be based on the tier that they assign to you. So then you'll know how much money you're going to get to purchase services that are being paid for by your funding. Thank you, Amy. The NJCAT is the New Jersey Comprehensive Assessment Tool. As someone that has been working in this field for a long time, I myself forget what the acronyms are myself because I'm always using the letters that I'm like, I'm drawing a blank. I can't tell you. So thank you, Amy, for putting that in the chat. Very helpful because I couldn't begin to think of that one. Next slide, please. Okay, so your support coordinator, we'll talk about once you're assigned a support coordinator, we'll reach out to you. From the time that you're assigned to a support coordination agency, they have 30 days to develop your ISP and PCPT. So they'll reach out, they'll work with you to gather all that information, and we take you step by step. So it can be very overwhelming. I'm just going to throw that out there because it's a lot. It's a lot to think about. It's a lot of pressure, of course, because you might be thinking, I have no idea what I want to do after school. So that's where we come in and we can help you sort that out. And you don't have to know everything at the beginning. it's really a journey that we take with you over time, and you can add to it, take things out, change your mind, all of that, which will help you to work through. So once your plan is approved, your ISP and PCPT, the support coordinator is going to start checking in with you monthly. So at least once a month, the support coordinator will call you. Every 3 months, the support coordinator will come out and visit you. They can either come to your home, or you can meet them somewhere in the community, or they may come to your program or a class that you're at. So they'll call you and set that up and schedule that with you, so you'll know in advance when they're going to be coming to see you. Sometimes even as support coordinators, you know, maybe there's a local park someone wants to meet at. It's totally fine with us. It's only once a year that we as support coordinators have to come into your home. So not every meeting has to take place at your home. If that's easiest for you, great. If not, they're going to work with you to figure that out. Sometimes we may even meet for a cup of coffee or something, depending on, you know, your schedule and what works for you. So the support coordinator is going to collaborate with your service providers to make sure that what you're doing is what you still want to be doing, and you're getting the support that you need. So say you sign up for a class and you take a couple classes and you realize this isn't really what I thought it was going to be. Then you would call us and say, you know, Christina, I don't really like this class anymore. I don't know, maybe the teacher isn't as nice as you had hoped, or maybe the schedule doesn't work. Maybe it's too late at night or too early in the morning. You can let us know. And if it's an issue with the staff or the provider themselves, we can help to set up a meeting to talk through that and come up with solutions. Or if you're just not feeling it anymore, we would work with you to end the service. So we would go into the plan, end the service. You sign off on the document after you review it, and then we approve that. And then that's it. You don't want to go to the class anymore. Totally fine. Say, you know, you hire an in-home support person, or what they call a DSP, which is a direct support professional. That's coming into the home and taking you out into the community. And you say, you know what, I want to start off with, you start off strong and you want 30 hours a week with this person. And then say Susan is coming in and supporting you, and you don't want to see Susan 30 hours a week. It's too much. And you say, you know what, let's cut it down to maybe 15 hours a week. We would, of course, speak with Susan as well and let her know, hey, we're going to cut this service down. Only 15 hours is needed now. We'd submit it for approval, approve the plan, and then you work with Susan 15 hours. So at any time, you can call your support coordinator and discuss what's going on, what you like about what's happening, what you don't like about what's happening, and then we work together to change that. Again, updating your plan as needed and at least once a year. So every year, say your plan is approved today, October 3rd, we would meet with you in August to review and work on your annual plan. And then we would approve that so that it's going to restart again on October 3rd. So it's always it used to be the first day of the month that it was approved. Now it's whichever day. So if we approve it on October 3rd, your plan is going to run October 3rd of this year to October 2nd of next year. So we'll work together. If anything has changed, it's super important to make sure that your contact information is always up to date, that you have emergency contacts or other people. If we can't reach you, who can we call? If an emergency happens, right, who would we call to help support you? So it's super important to always look over those phone numbers and the addresses of those that you're putting in your plan that we can talk to make sure that it's always up to date. Just in case maybe you break your phone, you have to get a new phone, and now we can't reach you. It's good to be able to call a brother or sister or an aunt or uncle, a neighbor, a friend, anybody. Also, last point is connects you with resources and services that you control and direct. So I think, you know, I've gone over this. We're going to connect you with both paid and unpaid. Maybe you're using a paid service to access your community, right? Maybe you have someone coming in, a DSP or a self-directed employee, which would be through either public partnerships or Easter seals. That's when you're hiring someone yourself, a neighbor or a friend or a family member, someone that you know. So maybe you're using that service to access your community, but that person is taking you to unpaid services. So different community events, maybe there's something going on at the local library. There's tons of festivals going on right now, different fall festivals, Oktoberfest. So that person, they don't have to be taking you to paid services like a cooking class or an art class. They can be working with you to, maybe you want to catch a movie and they go to the movies with you. Maybe you want to tap into your local community and you find a new coffee shop just opened up around the corner and you want to meet some people in your community. That person can take you also to different resources within your community. So coffee shops, maybe you go out to lunch, maybe you want to go sit at the park. Maybe you love the boardwalk. That person can work with you to set up your schedule for the week. So say you want to volunteer. Maybe you love animals and you want to volunteer at your animal shelter in town. That person can also help you to set up that schedule. So as your support coordinator, we may know all of this. So we're going to work with you to translate that to the people who are coming in and supporting you to make sure that you're getting what you want out of the services that are in your plan. And if you're not getting what you want out of them, helping you to change them and revise them. Next slide, please.
Can I just add something in there, Christina? Because I think you're making really great points, and I'm really looking forward to the Q&A and the discussion with the participants. But I think the last point is really critical, and I think this is what we encounter sometimes, is that people are using an agency-based service. Maybe they live in a group home or they're attending a day program, and they do become dissatisfied for whatever reason. Something's just not happening, or I think we're hearing more and more that there's lots of staff turnover in some of these agencies, and that clearly impacts people and their families. And I was part of one conversation recently where a family member felt like the agency wasn't giving her any information about what was happening. And of course, she's gravely concerned for her family member. And I think that the role of the support coordinator in a situation like that is to really try to bridge the communication, right? And really try to help the provider of whatever the service is understand that their first and most important accountability is to the person. We all know that there's struggles in this field around, hiring and keeping good people. Not so surprising, there are some agencies that don't have those issues. And so I think support coordinators also are in a unique position to kind of know, well, wait a minute, here at this agency, even though we can't recommend one over the other, we can certainly give people and their families the data that says, we know that the turnover, for example, isn't as high in this organization, or maybe this agency has taken a different approach to how it employs and supports people. So just really want people to know too, that while the support coordinator doesn't have the decision-making power, the points that you're making, Christina, are that the relationship that we build and sustain with that person and their family can, if it's trusting, as it should be, then we can oftentimes help to be that bridge and help people to understand you don't have to just stay with this program because you've been here for 10 years. If it's time for you to move on, or you feel like that agency isn't providing you with the best possible service anymore, then you have the right to choose another agency. And so we play an important role in that.
Thank you for bringing that up. I was so focused on those extracurricular activities.
No, no, no.
I appreciate that you brought it up because it is a super important point and something that as support coordinators, we're here to facilitate those conversations. So if you are someone who is attending a day program or living in a group home and you're having issues where you're living or with one of the staff or whatever have you, you can come to us and talk through that. And then we as a support coordinator will contact the team and set up what is referred to as an IDT, an interdisciplinary team meeting. Mouthful. Thank you. So then we'll meet all together and we can prep prior to the meeting, the support coordinator and the person supported, right? To go through, okay, what are the issues? How do we want to bring this up? What do we want to say, right? We don't want to be confrontational, right? But there are things that have to be said that may not be fun, right? Or for the people on the other side, they may feel, oh my goodness, I didn't know this was happening, or what are we going to do, right? So that's where we work together as a team to make sure that you're okay. The services that you're getting are the way that they should be, right? And that everybody's on the same page. So it's good that even when you have quarterly meetings or especially your annual meeting, to everyone meet as a team so that everyone is on the same page going into that next year. What's working, what worked about this service, what didn't work about this service, what can we do to make it better, what can we improve upon, and if it's still not meeting your needs, then saying, okay, do we need to potentially switch to a different provider, end this service altogether? What are our options? And that's where the support coordinator is going to talk you through that in your monthly calls, during your quarterly meetings. This is something that we're doing. We're monitoring your services. So if there's something, even if it seems super small to you and you say to yourself, I don't want to bring this up because it's not really a big deal, but it's kind of bothering me. Let us know, because those little things have a tendency to snowball into something much larger. And if we talk about it when it first happens, then maybe it's not going to get to that point of saying, I don't want to work with these people anymore. Maybe we can resolve it up front in the beginning so it doesn't snowball and become a terrible situation. So that's what we're here to do. We're almost like a mediator. We'll set up the meeting, but then really it's up to you and your team to discuss those things, right? Discuss what's bothering you. And that's where we can come in and help to prep you so that you're able to do that for yourself.
Yeah,
Okay.
again, I just think you make such important points in it, and it helps me to think about, the federal government, right? The Centers for Medicaid and Medicare Services fund this position. They provide funding for this position at state levels, so that there is a position, there is a service that ideally is conflict free. So again, we're not employed by any of these agencies. We don't have any stake in any of these provider agencies, and we can really help to amplify the voice of the person and their family when needed to make choices that are going to be in their own best interest. So thanks, Christina. Now I'll advance the slide.
Next slide, please. Okay. So what you should expect, your preferences drive the support coordinator's work, right? You are in the driver's seat. We're here to help you navigate the year for you, right? So you're going to come to us, you're telling us what you like, what you don't like, and we're going to help to guide you through that. But you are in control of your services and of your plan. Your team works for you, and all efforts are to help you create and or sustain a system of personal support. So living where and with whom you want. As a support coordinator, we can also talk through your living arrangements. Maybe you want to move out. You don't want to live with mom and dad anymore. We can help to connect you to resources for an apartment. Maybe you have a roommate that you want to move in with. So we can have those conversations, then connect you to those resources. So your DSP or your direct support professional or self-directed employee, they can help you as well, and also support brokerage. There is a service, support brokerage, that can help to set up your SDE and then to help you with that housing process. So there is supportive housing through DDD, and we can make a referral, and it's all based off of your income and all of that. So you would go through that process. We could walk you through that. So that's an option as well. Being part of your community, working and contributing as you want. So there was a wonderful presentation that I was able to host earlier today from DVRS. And if you weren't on it, that's fine, because they are recorded. So feel free to check that out. It was really, really informative. She did a great job. So we could connect you and make a referral for the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. And then you could work with them to potentially build a resume, find employment. Someone would follow you along if you needed that work to make sure you were doing a good job. So there's different resources that you can tap into for funding. Your DDD budget is not the end all be all. There are tons of different resources. If you haven't looked into the personal preference program, you would call your Medicaid provider and inquire. Acronym for that is PPP. So you call your Medicaid provider and inquire about that. That is a separate service. If you are eligible for it, it's based off of your needs. If you're eligible for it, they'll come in, do an assessment. A case manager will come in, do an assessment. And then based off of that assessment, you would be provided with additional hours of support. So if you needed assistance with daily living. So it's definitely something to tap into. I know a lot of times when people are transitioning from youth to adult, these programs get lost and families and parents don't know of them. So it's good to tap into whatever resources that you're able to. That's in addition to your DDD funding. So your support coordinator is not keeping track of that for you, but we can point you in the right direction to get those outside funding resources. So do you want to work? What would you like to do? Connecting you with those resources, freely choosing your own relationships, and being happy and having support when life gets hard. So we're here to, again, bounce ideas off of us, talk through different situations. You know, it's always good. And if we don't have the answer as your own support coordinator, we have a team of support coordinators that we can always bounce ideas off of as well, or ask our supervisors. At Values into Action, we really try to take a team approach. So there's people behind the scenes, and we're always emailing and calling one another. Do you know about this resource? There's also a support coordination. Can't remember the name of it on Facebook. If someone knows it, please put it in the chat. But there's a support coordinator Facebook page where people will post different resources as well. So it's always good to look into. Next slide, please. Okay, so finding a support coordinator, Marian mentioned earlier, there's over 180 here in New Jersey. So it's best to choose. If you know who you'd like to work with, you want to be able to choose them. If not, you'll be auto assigned to one of 180 support coordination agencies by DDD. So once you have, there's a support coordination agency selection form, an SDA selection form can be found online on the division's website. Once you have a support coordination agency, you'll meet the support coordinator who you'll work with. You and your support coordinator will invite people to be part of your planning team, and you meet with your planning team and begin planning your life. So as one of the 180 with the support coordination selection form, there's even people that come to us, they know what support coordinator is in their county and they want to work with that person. So you have, I believe there's two options. You can either choose to be auto assigned, or there's two, a first choice and a second choice. So you can put, you know, the support coordination agency you most prefer to work with, and then the second choice. Sometimes if the support coordination agencies are not open per se, they can't take on any more people, they're not working in the county that you live in, then you would be assigned to that second choice. Or if neither can take you, then you'd be auto assigned. So it's best to really do your research. You can even call the support coordination agencies. I know we get calls and we're more than happy to talk through our support coordination experience. It's good to ask questions. So I would recommend calling different agencies that you're interested in and seeing what they're all about and then making your choice from there. Thank you, Amy, for putting the form in the chat. I appreciate that. Thank you. All right, next slide.
Can I add to that? Yeah. There is a listing of all the currently qualified support coordination agencies. They are listed in alphabetical order. So with a name that starts with V, we're way at the bottom, and there's lots that start with A. So those are smart people who name their organizations that way. But there's also there's other ways to find the listing of organizations. And you know, we just recently worked with the division on this because a couple people we supported for whatever reason were changed. So the process isn't perfect. So if you're a self-advocate or family member on here today, or if you're a professional that's helping a self-advocate or family member transition, as with any other system, it's never perfect. It's never going to be perfect, but the quicker that people know that there's an issue, the quicker that we can work with DDD, the division, to correct it. And that's exactly what happened when we informed the division that there had been an issue, a few mistakes. They went right in, they corrected it with the family. But it did bring to light that we probably should be, as a system, kind of continually looking at, are the systems and the mechanisms that we have set up for people to make informed choices, are they still working? Could they be improved? So as an organization at the end of the alphabet, just know we're constantly advocating for, can we switch up that list every now and again so that we're closer to the top? Because, you know, naturally, if people are looking, they may just find the name of an organization, and hopefully it works out, because there's great support coordination agencies out here in New Jersey. So I just wanted to add that, Christina, just so people knew that, yes, there's the selection form, but people are free at any time, again, to select or deselect the support coordination agency that they're with, and there's ways for them to do that.
Thank you. All right, so we have 13 minutes left, so we definitely want to leave room for questions. So
one question.
Almost done. We're almost done. We are offering this transition resource, so please email me. My email is there at the bottom, christina.r@vianj.org, for a link to our transition resource guide. This has been put together and is an amazing resource. So please reach out if you'd like that. Next slide. Here we are at the NJ Youth Transition Conference. So we were lucky enough with Amy's support to have created the annual statewide NJ Youth Transition Conference and to be a part of that from the very beginning. So thank you for that. And I hope that you all continue to join us every year. And I hope we're invited back too.
Of course. I have a few questions here. Let me just scroll up to them.
Yeah, thanks, April. There was the one about the where we work. Yes. So just quickly, we work statewide.
Yeah. And our support coordinators, we try to keep where we're living. If I'm living in Middlesex County, I live in Middlesex County, I would be supporting, we have a lot of people in Middlesex County, but Monmouth, right? We try to keep people where they live so that we are aware of the services and what's available in your community, because we're living in your community. So we try to keep people close to the people that they're supporting.
Okay, I have another question. Is this service offered for individuals before they transition out of school?
That's like the perfect question, and I wish we had a perfect answer for that.
Yeah. It's even confusing for myself, because there are some people, and I'm not sure how they do it, but they've been like grandfathered in for whatever reason. And we had started to support them prior to the age of 21. It's rare, but it is doable. That would be more of a DDD question. So I believe DDD is doing a workshop. I would definitely bring that up during that workshop. The other thing is, when people are about to turn 21, a lot of times we'll be assigned to the person prior to them turning 21, so that we can work on the ISP, the PCPT, get all of our ducks in a row, so that when that person turns 21, they're able to start accessing those services.
Okay.
That's a really good point. And the other thing is that we often do outreach to schools and school districts. So if you are interested in having us connect with transition coordinators, special ed teachers, whichever ways we can be helpful, even if we as an agency can't begin to support any of your students immediately, at the very least, we can start providing them and their families with information. And the feedback that we get from the schools where we have presented is that it's been extremely helpful, especially because obviously coming through any life transition is challenging. But you know, that transition from education and academic life into the adult services system, I mean, how many adjectives could we use to describe that process? So anything that we can do as an organization, whether we're working directly for the person or not, we're happy to do that.
Understood. Another question, does Values for Action or any agencies within the collaborative synchronize with DVRS recommendations for services? If not, do they advocate with individuals and families to advocate with other agencies, including DVRS?
That is also a great question. And I think that we need to connect with whoever asked that question, because the collaborative needs to be connecting more with organizations like DVRS and others. So we would love to continue that conversation and build on that idea.
Yeah, and just to add to that, as support coordinators, your support coordinator would be hopefully conversating with DVRS if need be, right? So once you're assigned a case manager at DVRS, we would want to know that information as well, so that we can put it into your plan. So it would be good as part of the team that everybody is on the same page.
Okay. Here's another question. As a mom of a 14-year-old, where can I obtain a list of available agencies so I can determine which agency is the one that is more appropriate for my son?
Yeah,
Great question.
I'm going to get that link and put it in the chat.
Awesome.
Great question.
Is there ever a time where support coordination can request to no longer work with a family for whatever reason? Is there ever a time where support coordination meets one-to-one with just the consumer, or are meetings always with the whole family support persons?
Interesting. So let me jump on that one first, Christina, because you know how I feel about the whole issue of choice. No, support coordinators and support coordination agencies cannot say that we're not going to support a person. Now, that being said, when it's not a good fit, in our experience, we've tried to have honest conversations, like, we don't seem to be helping you. We don't seem to really be able to have the kind of positive impact. Are you sure you want to continue to work with us? And of course, this is after we're racking ourselves, like, okay, what do we need to do better? What's not working? How can we best improve? And we do a lot around that continuous quality improvement. And we're constantly asking, how are we doing? How could we be better? So I think on that note, no, you should never have to worry as a self-advocate or family member, like, oh, I'm going to make this agency so mad, they're not going to want to support me.
Yeah.
And I think
If at any, sorry. to cut
no,
you
go
off.
ahead.
If at any time, if at any time the person is not happy with the support coordination agency, they of course can choose to fill out that form, the support coordination agency selection form, and be switched to a different support coordination agency.
Yeah.
It's up to the person.
And the second question is these are great questions. The second question is, yes, we absolutely meet one-on-one with the person using services. It's their preference. Oftentimes we do have, and we consider, we're very fortunate to have significant family involvement with a lot of the people who are using our services. But and there are times too when the person says, I don't want to meet with my mom. And then memories of me and my kids in high school come flooding back like, wait a minute, I don't get to have an opinion on that. So we also are very, very sensitive, but we're also very aware that through life transitions, especially as somebody's maturing and kind of coming into their own, their opinions may differ from those of their parents. And we try to be really, really sensitive to that. We have support coordinators who are also themselves family members. So we feel like we have some mentoring that happens in our organization around those kind of unique family dynamics. And Christina, I'm sure you have.
Yeah, I was gonna, I was just putting my email back in the chat for everybody. Yes, we definitely meet one-on-one. And if you want to meet as a team, we meet as a team. It's important that at least once a year, the team is on the same page. And if there are any issues that we're talking about them as a team with the people that, like, say you're having an issue with the provider, it's good to have them in the meeting so then we can hash it out and figure it out. But yeah, we meet one-on-one. Maybe we might meet as a team, but before that, you want to talk one-on-one and kind of get what you want to say out. So then we're aware of it going into the meeting. It's at least one time, minimum one time per month that your support coordinator should be talking to you. That doesn't mean that you can't call them 2 times that month, 3 times that month if something comes up.
And can I just add something really quickly? In April, I know we're coming in on time, but don't let communication. We often hear, well, my kid can't communicate. And our response always respectfully is everybody is communicating. Some of us communicate more through our behavior and less on words. So we wouldn't ever want a self-advocate to feel like, oh, well, I can't talk one-on-one to my support coordinator because I don't use my voice to speak. We find ways to best understand a person's communication, and more, we're really trying to educate and inform people on the benefits of assistive technology around helping one be able to use it to own their own communication. So more on that later, but thank you for that question. It was really, really a powerful question.
All right, and there's one more. Hold on, I lost it. I was typing to someone. Do you have any suggestions on the best ways to communicate when collaborating with Children's System of Care and the CMOs, the care management organizations?
Well, I would lead with, we need to be good partners. We always need to come into a situation understanding that we are one of many resources and that we certainly have contributions to make, but we should never, ever try to replace the voice of the person or their family, and always work in a cooperative manner with other system partners, even when we don't agree, because we're not always going to agree. And I think that we sometimes as a system get caught up in like, oh, well, she didn't like what I said. Well, it doesn't matter whether I like what you said or not, right? What matters is that I'm respecting and I'm honoring your perspective, particularly as an organization that's going to know this family better, because chances are we're just coming in as one of the adult service providers. So, I mean, that's what I was always lead with is we need to be good partners to you.
Right.
Yeah.
I also let this user know that there is a Children's System of Care workshop coming up on Thursday that I'm actually presenting at. at 6
Awesome.
o'clock at night. So if anyone else is on this call and interested in, the transition from Children's Services, which is New Jersey's children's system of care, into the adult DDD world, I will be going over that content. But Marian is right. It's all about the professionals that are assisting the youth and family collaborating together, but most of that needs to be with consent, but we'll get into that on Thursday evening. Excellent. I
That's
think
great,
that is
April. I
all
wanted
the
to comment.
questions. I think that was all of them that I had on my end. Ladies, is there anything else that you would like to add?
If anyone thinks of anything, you have our information, so feel free to reach out. You may think of something later on.
And I would just say this is such an incredibly important time in the student's life, but also in the family's life. And I just really, again, appreciate that there's now a conference that brings together everybody around this critical issue, because there can't be enough talk or enough resources. If we can help people and families get this right, imagine then what that student, just the opportunities that are before them if we get this right. So thanks,
Excellent.
April.
All right, well, I'm going to do my closing script
Yeah.
for everyone, okay? That concludes today's workshop from Marian and Christina from Values into Actions. Thank you for your knowledge and resources that you shared. The workshop recordings will be made available on our website by November. For those in need of proof of your attendance for continuing education credits, you will receive an email soon with your certificate. However, please be sure that you sign in today using the link that I just dropped in the chat box again, so nobody has to go finding it. It is up to your employer to accept this proof of continuing education. You will not receive your certificate if you did not register using the form shared with you today. If for whatever reason you work for a job and there's like a security feature and you can't open this Google form, I'm going to put my email address in the chat box. Please send me an email and I will send you the link that way. This way, perhaps you can open it on your personal phone or forward it to a personal email where there isn't that restriction for you to properly sign in. But signing in is very important. Remember that each workshop has its own unique sign-in. So I will drop my email in the chat box now for everyone. Thank you, ladies. You did a fantastic job. The questions were amazing. The recording will be available on the website. We are live on Facebook. So if you haven't already, please like and follow the conference on social media. We post things all year long and give you updates for, the next conference in the works. So thank you. I believe the next workshop today is at 3 o'clock, which will be the Boggs Center on Developmental Disabilities, group person-centered planning in the classroom. And we'll see everyone back at 3.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.